guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Ajane. For those of you who are new, welcome. I am going to be talking about my engagements, what I do when I do public speaking, when I do any like trainings or any conferences. I've had the pleasure of this year in 2023 being able to go and be a guest speaker, a panelist at a conference for the Missouri Hospital Association, and absolutely had a great time. I'm the type of person that enjoys public speaking. I don't necessarily mind it, and I like getting to know other people and taking these opportunities to learn about other organizations or get a better understanding of existing organizations and agencies that I already work with. So I don't really have any anxieties as far as that goes, but if you're a person who has any social anxieties or problems with public speaking, it's probably not the best situation for you. But I wanted to share my experiences for those of you who might be interested in exploring this realm. But I have done, I think off the top of my head, I can remember 3, but I want to say that I've done 4. I've done them on like a smaller scale. I've done a training and just kind of like an educational about my clinic, about like the type of work that I do, about things that other working professionals need to be on the lookout, kind of giving them education of the population that I deal with as kind of like a specialist in a sense. And that one was more of, we had to do a PowerPoint and do a proper presentation as like what you would do when you enrolled into school. So me and my coworker and a colleague who I worked with on the project, we ended up like splitting up different parts because I'm a pregnancy social worker and she's a postpartum social worker, but then she also has like the experience of working in a pediatric emergency room. And so she works with pregnant women, she works with postpartum, she works with babies and toddlers and young children. And so, but for the purpose of the conference, we kind of like narrowed down the information that we needed to present and educate those who are participating. And typically what that looks like is you'll be presented by a person in the organization. I'm not gonna say a specific job title because there's been plenty and various different types of job titles and people within that organization that have reached out. And so they give you a background on the conference. Maybe it's a conference that's new or a training that's new. I'm just gonna use those words interchangeably. And so they give you background information about it. They educate you about it. And then they provide you with feedback on what they kind of expect you and how they expect you to participate within the conference or the training. And so they kind of give you a guideline of what they hope that you can contribute and why they reached out to you specifically. So obviously if they're reaching out to you specifically, then there's something that you fit a niche within that training. And so they basically want you to focus on that. So that's an opportunity for you to ask and inquire about any questions, any comments, any concerns that you have. Is it going to be open-ended questions at the end? Are you going to curate any questions before the training starts, or are you going to allow them to kind of like express any questions throughout the training, throughout the presentation? Is the presentation in person or is it virtual? Do I have to do any breakout sessions? So these are the type of questions, and this is the opportunity for you to start asking those types of questions, those types of things, and how that helps you then create how your flow is going to go. How are you going to engage the people? How are you going to follow up eventually? So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So those are the type of things that they will ask you about. If there's other people that you're going to be working with, there's typically a meeting that engages. Like I was on a panel this last one, and so with that, we had a few Zoom calls. We were assigned 2 people that we can talk to about any questions or concerns that we had. And so that some of them are just like, oh, create a PowerPoint and just send it to us so that we can make sure that we can present it. They have one person that's designated to making sure that our PowerPoints and stuff are working smoothly, depending on where you are in the program. And then some people will have you do a bio. So a bio about yourself. I know this is everywhere. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. This is completely natural, unfiltered, unedited. They will ask you about a bio. So you'll need to have maybe a few sentences, a paragraph or so about yourself, the type of work that you do, the type of work that you used to do, maybe your education, maybe some of the things that you're passionate about, maybe what brought you into the social work field, if you're licensed, if you're not licensed. Well, if you're licensed, you say that. If you're not licensed, you don't typically say that. But a lot of that is just like how you got to this point, the population that you work with, organization that you work with. I usually do mine in third person because it's typically a person reading it, so it's just a lot easier for them to read it as Ajane Blah instead of I, me. It's like presented in third person, so it comes out a lot more natural. And that's another aspect of it. And it seems like a lot, but sometimes it's not. Most of the time it's not. If you're doing something on a larger scale, then typically you will have to sign some paperwork, some legal documents, and that's kind of like saying that you will still have your rights to your words, your presentation, the things that you say, if they wanted to produce that elsewhere and things like that, or if they wanted to use it for maybe a commercial or promotional things, that they will be able to use that without necessarily needing your permission every single time. Or if they're making a profit of it, they won't be able to, well, you won't be able to, say that that's your word, your property. I already had to make some changes. So a bio is part of it, some legal documents. Sometimes it's not. It's just like, hey, will you participate in this type deal? I've been paid for some appearances, and then I haven't been necessarily paid for some experiences. I mean, they usually will give you a gift of some sort, or you can ask for reimbursement. If it's out of town, you can ask for mileage reimbursement, or that they give you a stipend for like food and lodging and gas. So there's different parts of it. There's different things that you can adjust and kind of inquire about if you're going to participate. If you do want to be paid, then I express that you express that, and that you let them know that you will be charging, or there's a fee to your services, and if you can clock or get paid or reimbursed for the time and effort that you spent. So if you're creating a PowerPoint, if you're doing certain research, or providing certain documents, that they can reimburse you for any paper and stuff that you use. So obviously it's just like customized to what you're actually doing, what you're doing, how much time you're allotting to this project or this conference, this training, and then like additional follow-up and things like that. You can inquire about that. So if I present my phone number and my email address and people are contacting me about certain things that I said, or like, wanted to follow up with me and connect with me, what does that look like afterward? Am I still affiliated with the training? Am I still affiliated with you guys, or am I an independent person and I can kind of like navigate this by myself? Does that make sense? So there's paid, there's unpaid, there's travel, there's virtual, there's within your city limits, there's meetings beforehand to kind of curate questions, inquire about things that you might have questions about, meeting other participants within the training. You might have to submit documents that are legal. You are possibly going to have to submit any documentation or any PowerPoints prior to the training to possibly get approved ahead of time, and then you have to send that in within a time frame so that they can add it to their program, their system. Just making sure that you get your bio right, and that following up that your name, your credentials, and things like that are right. I had to like tell them my name and my credentials several times. So that was kind of annoying, but other than that, like those are small things that can be changed and adjusted. And then after I did the training, I also did a podcast. So maybe that's what I'm thinking about. So I've done 3 appearances in like a training conference type style, and then I've done a podcast, which I just kind of did that on the fly. They asked me specifically after I did the panel, and I answered a few questions, and I was completely flustered, and I talked for over an hour in the panel. So my brain was fried, my tongue was tied, and like you're thinking and then you're like spaced out, but then you're brought back and you're like, what was the question? That was me. So hopefully they can edit it to make it sound comprehensible. So yeah, but what is it like? It's fun for me. That's what I said, that you have to know what your personality type is, because if you're not a person who likes to be in constant engagement, or participate in large groups of people, or have people staring at you and asking you questions, because being a panelist is kind of scary in a sense, because you don't know what people are going to say. There's going to be people that possibly disagree with what you say, or how you do it, or what your organization does, and you have to be prepared to be able to respond to that. And so yeah, oh, I know what it was. I've done 2 trainings, I've done a podcast, and I've done a like commercial TV interview style thing. So for my organization, we were awarded an award, and there was like this video that was made. I mean, it was professional, like cameras everywhere, lights, mics. It was a big deal. Maybe one day I'll be able to release it once I've like dissociated myself from my current job after a few years, or after a year or so, and I can release that information without like breaking any confidentiality or anything. I mean, it's on public record. It's out in the public. So if you search really hard, you could probably find that video. But yeah, so that was interesting because they didn't allow me to like prep. It was kind of just like, we're going to ask you questions. We just want the authentic answer and like your feelings about it. And we're only going to use like a few minutes of it. And it was like a 30-minute interview. But yeah, I had a good time. I've enjoyed doing conferences and trainings. I have had such a great time getting to know other people and really expanding my experiences and my exposure into this field, because this is something that I would be open to doing more full-time or part-time and working part-time, because I love educating. I love getting to talk to people. I love getting to share my thoughts. Obviously, this is something that I want to do because I do this on YouTube. I want to share my experiences. I want to share advice and all the things with you guys. So I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you enjoyed this little video. I know that it was sporadic, but I'm trying to do everything off the top of my head. I should have been more organized and written it down. But if you guys want things to be more organized, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll go ahead and make another video, and I'll just categorize it with additional questions that you guys may have asked within the comments. So also I wanted to say that if you do have an assignment that you want me to kind of like write, if you have an interview that you need done, then I would be open to scheduling something with you guys. But if I decline, please don't take it personal. It just means that I have a lot of things going on at work and in my personal life, and I'm not able to fulfill it within the time frame that you needed. And I do apologize, but I'm a human being. I'm not a meanie. Not that anybody said that, but I just want to preface that if I do decline, it's not personal. It's not because I don't care. It's not because I'm not standing by my word. It's because I have a life, and I have YouTube, and I have a job, and I'm trying to navigate all of the things that life throws at you. But I hope that you guys are doing well, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.